This is a conversation, first and foremost, before we have with President Macron, we must have amongst ourselves as leaders in this continent. What is Kenya doing? What is Zambia doing? What is Mauritania doing? What is the next country doing? What are we doing to mobilize our own resources with the support of our financial institutions led by the Africa Development Bank for us to unlock this enormous amount of resources for us to de-risk and to finance our own development? The request we are going to place on President Macron's table is, when we go to the G7, we are not asking for money. We are asking for the endorsement of the G7 for our architecture so that we can enhance the ratings of institutions like ATD so that they can help us reinsure, so that they can help us de-risk our pension funds, our insurance companies, so that that money sitting with them, $4 trillion, can be available for our own development. This is the conversation we must have. Currently, we are putting a lot of our money from central banks in foreign banks. We are not putting that money in Africa Development Bank. We are not putting in Afri-Exim. We are not putting in ATD. We are taking it elsewhere. And that money is helping drive the development of other places. How do we take our money, give to people, and then we go on our knees to beg them to help us? That is not intelligent at all. I don't want to say, so you guys, and allow me to say this with a lot of passion because I know we have an opportunity to do something about it. Africa Development Bank, Afri-Exim Bank, RTD, TDB, AFC, and all the other good people, including Shelter Afrique, you guys cannot afford to let us down. You are our institutions. What we need to do from a policy position, as I speak to President Mahama and all the colleagues who are sitting here, we must invest in these institutions. We must put our money in these institutions. There are nations that put their money in the World Bank and IMF. We must put our money in these institutions. That is when we can guarantee our own development. Those who invested in World Bank and IMF have every reason to give us conditions from here to Johannesburg because it's their money. Yeah, it is their money. They may employ Maktar Diop, but the money does not belong to Maktar Diop. Maktar Diop is one of us, but the money does not belong to him, right? So we must put our own money in these institutions so that they can leverage on our resources to crowd in more money from other areas. Therefore, I am making a passionate plea as a leader in Kenya that fellow heads of state sitting here with us, let us believe in ourselves. The solution for financing our development sits with us more than the people sometimes we point fingers. It is us to organize ourselves. And we are asking those of us who understand numbers, the people in ADB and all the other places, please recommend to us what we need to do. I am already putting more money in Afri-Exim Bank buying shares. I'm doing the same in TDB, and I will do the same in AFC, and I will do the same because those are the institutions that understand us. Those are the institutions that will finance our development without asking questions from here to Cairo. They will ask us enough questions. Yeah? And we're not saying we want to borrow money without complying with regulations. We must comply with regulations, but they must be reasonable. At the very least, they will not put a big premium on risk on us because they understand us. I go to Tadesse and he doesn't think Kenya is risky because he is right here with us. He knows, right? So, thank you very much. So this is what I am saying, and forgive me, Macron, I am saying this for my fellow heads of state in this room. So what we will ask of you is to help us mobilize the G7 to endorse our institutions and our facilities, not necessarily with money, but with guarantees. Just a guarantee, not money, just with guarantees. We will lift our institutions to AAA rating, AA rating, and we will be able to mobilize resources for ourselves, from pension funds, from philanthropies, and from other areas. Sorry, I have taken long, but I needed to say this because it is not always that you have an opportunity to assemble such a big body of heads of state in one meeting. In this conversation, I think it is now a given that something must give way. And we are not discussing only how to reform the Bretton Woods institution to give Africa and the global South more voice and access to more concessional resources. We are also thinking outside the box. And this is a very important conversation today we are having here with fellow leaders, especially policymakers. We too, as policymakers in this continent, as DFIs in this continent, we must do something about our situation. Yes, it is good for us to discuss World Bank and IMF, and we should. But there are real opportunities right here with us that we don't need the World Bank and the IMF to do anything. We need ourselves to do something about it. As I said in the earlier meeting, we have $4 trillion of resources being held by our pension funds, our insurance companies, our different actors. Yet we are not getting that money to drive our development. And that is why at the Africa Union last time, we endorsed the Alliance for African Multilateral Financial Institutions led by the Africa Development Bank, Afri-Exim Bank, Trade and Development Bank, and I see all the CEOs of those institutions in this meeting, including Africa Finance Corporation and all the other good people, including ATIDI. Now, do we need the West? Do we need the World Bank and the IMF for African Multilateral Finance Institution to craft a mechanism for us to de-risk our savings, the 4 trillion? We don't need. It is us. And I want to borrow from the words of President Kagame. Nobody, good people, owes us any development. We owe it to ourselves. And therefore, we must step up. And I want to congratulate the new president of the Africa Development Bank for leading the way and mobilizing the other financial institutions and crafting the new Africa financial architecture, which will help us create the mechanism to unlock resources in our continent. And when I say that, Speaking specifically about Kenya, we are raising $100 million every month from just one public pension in Kenya. $100 million every month. They are beginning to have a headache on where to invest this money. So we have a lot of resources. I'm talking about Kenya. We have 54 countries. So there is a lot of resources that with a proper mechanism and good people, our financial experts in the multilateral finance institutions, please don't let us down. I am talking to Tadesse, you are in this room. You know what me and you have done, you know, to raise resources for Kenya. I'm talking to AfriExim, you know what we have done to raise resources, and the possibility of us raising sufficient resources beyond what the World Bank and IMF is giving us is there. Either we are being lazy or we are trying to blame somebody else. And the time to blame somebody else is not there. And today we have a golden and historic opportunity